Welcome back to the Ball Does Lie podcast, your one-stop shop for daily NBA content. I'm your host, Brendan, joined by my co-host, Amir. And it's finally happened, Amir. Trae Young finally getting traded out of Atlanta, going to the Washington Wizards. Pretty embarrassing package, I got to say. Just Corey Kispert and TJ McCollum, two expiring contracts that the Wizards ship out over to Atlanta for Trae Young. So just throwing it to you right here, letting you ISO a bit, Amir. What are your thoughts on the trade? What do you think of the package? How are there no picks? Just let me get your kind of initial temperature on that deal.
I've been pretty clear with where I stand with Trae. I think he's a terrible basketball player. I don't think he's a winning basketball player at the highest level. I think that run to the Eastern Finals was a fluke that
A
year, and
bit fluky, yeah.
a little fluky, right? And he put up numbers, obviously, and he's a very good offensive player, but I don't know if he's like an offensive system like a James Harden, or you could take that onto any team, and he's gonna basically transform your team and help you win. Like at least James Harden, I don't not to go off tangent. I hate him. I think he's horrible, but he's an amazing regular season player. I still understand he's a Hall of Famer, MVP type player in his
He
prime, still playing
plays every
great.
game. Yep.
Yeah, like he's obviously great, but he's a choke artist in the playoffs. Like that's my biggest issue with him. And he's not an NBA champion, and he's not a two-way player. Kind of like Trae Young, but he's just so much better offensively, I would say, and a lot bigger, which helps. Obviously, he's not a pipsqueak like Trae. So he is a bad defender, but Trae is like the worst defender. So um, his inefficiency as a volume scorer, like, just doesn't help winning teams. So it tracks. It makes sense at first because at first I was like, why are the Wizards going after him? But it makes sense because they're a bad team. Like they're just taking a flyer on someone who doesn't need to play defense for them. They don't need to win. So they insert him in. They sell some tickets because of his brand and name recognition. They see if he can turn it around somehow and hit his stride in his prime. He's only 27, right? Like he could be a piece for this team
Absolutely.
as the second or third option um, in the future. Perhaps he's still young enough, but they're not about winning. The Wizards are not about winning, so they're just focusing on ticket sales and highlights, and so it makes sense now. At first, it didn't make sense, but um, the package, just like, did he reset the market? Like zero first round picks, like not even a swap. Like
Well, that's the thing is, does this speak to resetting the market or just Trae's value?
I think
You know?
both. What do you think, real quick? I think it's a combination. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked. You and I were texting obviously when this happened, and we couldn't believe there were no picks involved in this deal whatsoever. That is pretty crazy, especially considering both teams do have a lot of draft assets and capital here that they could spend. Um, but for the Hawks, I think it's clear they were ready to move on. Let's get to the Jalen Johnson era, and then as you just said, for the Wizards, it makes sense for them. I think this deal weirdly works out for both of them. The Wizards' goal this season needs to just be we're tanking. We're getting a top 4 pick in this very loaded draft that we can pair Trae, Alex Sarr with another young guy. And like you said, Trae's young, 27 years old. He still has the potential to do some things, and maybe a fresh start on the Wizards is what he needs. But as you said, his defensive deficiencies, I think, are just too big. And if you're looking to play any real winning type of basketball, it's hard to picture Trae being a major part of that. If he is your third option, great. But I think for, the type of not necessarily ego that Trae has, but I think the way he envisions himself on an NBA roster, I don't think you're going to see him defer to a second or third option, and someone that just constantly needs the ball. So,
Yeah.
we'll see how it works out for the Wiz. Just to throw it back to you, I guess, who do you think this trade helps more? Who do you think is in a better position after this trade executed?
It helps the Hawks more, baby. You get off his 47 and 49 next year. Like the 49 was the big
Oh yeah,
issue because he had a player option, and it's like if his perceived value was down, and I didn't think it was this far down the gutter. Like
this is shocking. Yeah,
not
this is shocking.
they didn't even get like a first round lottery pick who's not really panning out type of guy. You know what I mean? That like
Yeah,
needs a new scenery that's like still solid but not really like getting the opportunity. or the development. Like they don't have like they didn't even get like an upside player, let alone a draft pick. And I'm just shocked that like his value dropped so far down the gutter. And because of that, I know Trae, like these guys read the news and the tweets and they follow along. What the insiders are saying, he would have never tested free agency. Like if he didn't get traded, he's picking up the option with the Hawks and dealing with that free agency or extension the year after that. The Hawks didn't give him an extension. The writing was already on the wall. We said this before in a previous episode, right?
Yep.
So like he was going to make like 46, 47 this year. Next year, that player option, 49 million, he's opting in. It's a player option, right? Because he knows his value is going down based off the rumors since he didn't sign that extension in the
Yeah.
offseason. So, and there's been speculation for the last 2 months, whatever, since the season started, that Trae could be traded before the deadline. It wasn't imminent, but it almost was when he didn't get that extension.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Yeah.
better for the Hawks now because now you have 2 expiring contracts, and now you suck. You kind of semi-tank while developing players like Ricochet. He can maybe now get a little more usage now that Trae's off the team, and Okongwu. Like let these guys continue to develop, get more reps. Let Jalen get more reps now as the pure number one ball dominant player on this team, and they're still going to kind of lose. Like they're still not great. Like, and then so you get hopefully a top 10 lottery pick while you're developing these players. And McCollum is an expiring contract. So you get all that money off the books. And if Jalen is that good in the future, then maybe he can recruit someone in the future to come to Atlanta. It's a good city. It's not like a crappy place to play like some places,
Not at
if
all.
you're like thought
Atlanta's
you're going to
definitely a
Cleveland,
destination.
you're not
Yeah.
going to Cleveland or Memphis or whatever, insert another crappy Utah.
Throwing my Kings in there, Sacramento.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad destination as well. So I think the Hawks are the winner. I mean, the Wizards are the winners too. Like how often is a franchise like the Wizards, a poverty franchise, going to get a star player or former 4-time All-Star? He was an All-Star last year. He'd be an All-Star this year if he was healthy with the way he could put up numbers if Trae was healthy. But it's kind of a win-win, right? Wouldn't you think?
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I think this works out for both sides. I do think the Hawks come out a little bit better. I think there's a little bit more excitement for them. You finally get to see what you have in Jalen Johnson. Let him run this team. And I think that roster's a little happy Trae's out of there too, because Trae is, by all accounts, a really difficult player to play with, both offensively and defensively. So I think the Hawks are in a really interesting position because they'll have about, $30 million in cap space this offseason. And you can really start pairing some great mid-level players, maybe get another kind of all-star level player, and then potentially get another lottery pick. So this offseason could be really interesting. Now, there's rumblings that this is the first move of something the Hawks are looking to build for another move. And AD seems to be the main target here.
Why?
I think again, you and I are probably in agreement here, so not the most interesting debate topic, but do you see any sense in the Hawks making another move and pairing Anthony Davis here with Jalen Johnson? And what does that do for them, if anything?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
You and I agree there. Yeah.
I'd rather find some sort of combo guard to put next to Jalen. You have the kind of big already. Like, I don't know. I mean, having AD as the defensive anchor could be great, but like for what? 45 games? Like, he's only getting older. He's only getting new injuries every single day. Guess what happened today? Guess what happened today?
And it's something different every game for AD, right? And the guy, I'm a big Anthony Davis fan, but he's played 55 games in 4 of his last 5 seasons. And they already have this issue with Porzingis. So, you're shipping out one injury-prone guy for potentially another one, because I imagine Porzingis is going to be a part of whatever deal they would package for AD. And you're giving up on Ricochet, which I think, he hasn't been playing great this year, but I still think the guy deserves more than just 2 years to prove his true value. And, the Hawks, you say what you want about CJ. He's in every single trade rumor. He's been playing extremely well this year. 19, 3-3 on 45%. That's pretty great play. And I think now getting to play alongside Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Jalen Johnson.
Totally.
Who knows? I think the Hawks could be sneaky good, but I think they would rather probably come in to this offseason with a potential lottery pick and that cap space.
Totally. Because why add 50 million of Anthony Davis and have that on your books for however many years he has left, like 3 years left on his contract, and instead of paying one guy, why not add pieces or like to build the roster so that you can have the cap space potentially to add another max player, draft a lottery pick, develop Jalen, and then just put the pieces around the existing team, which they have solid players on the team. And Rui Hashimura next season as a free agent, 17 million. Get a Rui for like that same price range. Then get a John Collins type player. I'd rather have John Collins and Rui at like probably 40 million combined than an AD making 50. Wouldn't you? Like, I mean, that might be
Oh,
redundant,
absolutely.
but
No,
just
and in today's NBA too, definitely. Where you're just looking for depth, especially on the wings.
those are
So
versatile
why
bigs.
not optimize there?
Those are
Exactly.
That's like two. I just looked at it like for 2026. Like, what other guards are available? Like, even Kaminga technically is coming, will be a free agent. And he's gonna want like 30, but like give him that raise to 30 million and then add Rui. Like, I'd rather have Kaminga and Rui than AD on that Atlanta team. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's the right fit. Obviously, I'm just saying players out loud now that I say that Kaminga and Jalen. I don't know if that's like the right
Yeah, the
combination.
Kuminga, I'm not sure. The Rui angle is interesting, but I think there's a lot of interesting guards that'll be up for free agency. I think Quentin Grimes is someone you could potentially look at. Um, I mean, there's a whole list, I think, of really great guards that the Hawks can look to pair with. Instead of, like you said, spending all that money on Anthony Davis for a guy you're pretty confident is not going to give you more than 50 plus games in a season. Um, well, it's finally happened at least, Amir, so we can all move on. We can stop talking about Trae Young and
Thank
his
God.
potential trade destinations, and we can now look forward to potentially Ja getting moved somewhere and LaMelo. It's kind of this ring around the rosy with these guards, but
And Zion, don't forget about once we get to that
and
as well.
Zion. That's right. Well, I want to thank you, Amir, for joining me today, taking the time to talk some Trae Young. Thank you guys for watching here. And if you do like the content, please make sure to like and subscribe. And we will see you on the next one.